All right, well, hopefully everyone had a good lunch. I know usually the first presentation after lunch, people are having a snooze fest, so we'll try to keep this as energetic as possible. So as she said, my name is Charles Johnson. I am the lead trainer and technical engineer at LinkSpring. I have been in the field for basically 32 years, even though I am only 42. Long story with that. I am a certified Niagara trainer and certified Niagara developer. And so we're going to be talking about what the JENEsys Edge is and how to deploy it quickly. So a couple things that we want to talk about is the JENEsys Edge product line is an end-to-end Niagara product. So as we know, one of the benefits or beauties, I like to say, that Niagara, it's a blank slate. And also could be one of the negatives is that it's a blank slate, so you have to build everything. Well, one thing that we wanted to talk about is our edge-centric applications, in which are pre-built applications that you can actually download and deploy in your edge. Now, we have everything from the air handler to fan coil unit to heat pumps to plants, but what about the VAV? Well, we actually have an entire tool for the Edge VAV supervisor as well. And also, I have a couple some program objects and actually a module that I'm going to be giving to you guys to deploy some of the other stations that we have in the supervisor as well. So one thing about the edge-centric applications is that they are here to reduce roughly 80% of your engineering time. So really the 20% that you're going to be using is more or less a lot of use case, but pretty much everything else is built there. It's got graphics, alarms, histories, navigation for you, and all you need to do is whatever custom stuff you want, just simply add. Now, as you can see here, this is a list of the current applications that we have, from VAV air handlers to constant volume air handlers with chill water system, hot water system, or DX. In addition, we have fan coil units, boilers, heat exchangers, pumps, etc. Now, what you'll do is that if you are on our resource, or if not, we're on Cochrane, you're going to be able to just download this entire zip file. And then this zip file actually contains a copy of the station. It contains a PDF that you can actually put in your engineering submittals should an engineer need to see like graphic submittal, programming sheet, etc. Also contains a Visio drawing of the wiring diagram for the VAV. And then also it gives you a password guide that we have to give you to instantly log in without creating your own password. I know that you will, but to start off, you'll see it. So this is actually kind of what the program would look like in some of the point folders that we may have. And you can also see here that instead of trying to figure it all out and following the bouncing ball, as I like to call it, we actually do have some nice little notes here to show you some optional things, what the loop point needs to be do. Obviously, you have to tune all the loop points, etc. So we give you notes and tips and tricks on how to quickly fine-tune those applications. And this is actually a typical graphic that you're going to use, although you can certainly just replace it with your own PX page if you want, but this is what we have built in, and we have it take it to the home page, history, schedules, alarms, and, well, the ability to log off. Oh, sorry, got a little click happy here. So with that now, we want to talk about the Edge VAV. And so with the Edge VAV, we actually have a configuration tool and a supervisor station. And so this supervisor station is actually a full tool that you use to actually integrate all of your Edge VAV products. Now this here actually meets all G36 and non-G36 applications. And we have a Windows configuration tool that you can actually use to set up each VAV box individually. Or you can actually create a spreadsheet later on for mass deployment of configurations of all VAVs among the supervisor itself. Now, as far as the Onyx Rapid Integration, because that's part of the supervisor station, we have an implementation process. And this actually falls into two categories or functions. The first one is going to be the integrator. That's all of you. And then the other one is actually the system. Actually, so it works in the background. Well, the first thing you need to do is, and since these are edge controllers, they all need to have IP addresses. Therefore, it is your responsibility to come up with that IP address and set it in every single VAV. Then you're going to use the Edge VAV configuration tool to go ahead and create your configuration for your VAV. And then you're going to implement the Onyx Rapid Integration tool in the supervisor station. Obviously, if you have it pre-built from us, it'll already be there. Then after you do that, the system itself will actually add the VAVs to the station and put it in its respective folders and subfolders for zones and floors. Then, should you need to actually change the name of your of your VAV stations, we give you the ability to do that all from this tool. And then from you, we have some post-integrator tags with some, in addition, some logic from the air handler and VAVs that you can add for zoning. But this is actually a screenshot here of the VAV tool. I'm not going to demo the VAV tool itself, but just the integration portion of what I'm going to do. Should you want a full demo of the VAV, the configuration tool, simply just come by the LinkSpring booth and I'll sit there and actually show you everything. But this is a Windows application here, which allows us to create our specific zones that belong to a respective air handler and the specific floor. In addition, it generates the spreadsheet for you here. So here you can see where we have the VAV configuration and we have control configuration. Can I actually use the, nope. I was going to say maybe the laser pointer doesn't work as well here, but that's all right. So we have the control configuration. We have offer 27 different types of VAVs from your fan power series or parallel fan using the ECM motor and up to 3 additional stages of electric heat. Then we actually have the folder structure that you see here that brings out the air handler, the respective floor, and then the VAVs underneath. And that Excel file is actually what we use to import to the supervisor station. Now, the beauty about this tool is that this will actually do a validation check. So if you don't have the naming of your supervisor correct, or you're missing a VAV, it'll actually tell you, hey, there are some issues here. You need to go fix that, fix the configuration before you can continue to compile. However, it'll generate a spreadsheet that looks very similar to this. So you can see the station name, the VAV name, IP address, subnet mask gateway, importance multiplier. That's really important for the G36 application. And it'll continue to go through. So I'll show you what that looks like at the station level. Also, with the Edge VAV supervisor station, we give you the ability to build, it actually will automatically build a summary of the VAVs per zone as a separate PX page. You can then actually take all the information from the Onyx Rapid Integration tool and create it as an as-built. So if you want to put that on your control drawings, you can do it right from Niagara. And we also have the ability to create just a PX page for additional floor plans. So when you have a floor and you want to add your VAV zones there, I'll show you what that looks like as well. And then we actually have some additional program objects in a module. So we have a lot of function right now for the Edge VAV, but we don't have a lot of tools for supervisor implementation from an Edge perspective as far as if you're using the other Edge-centric applications. So this weekend I actually spent a little bit of time to create some additional program objects and a module that we can use. So the first one is you're going to add, it gives you just the ability to add the controller from a CSV file that you have. Now, I give you an option to even load a BOG file that you create as an offline supervisor connection. And the reason why I give you the option of one or the other, because some of you actually may use export tags and or virtuals rather than just discovering the proxy points underneath. But if you have the proxy points underneath, the BOG file will actually allow you to bring everything in and copy it appropriately. Then after that, it takes a while to ping Niagara controllers, right? You're sitting there, ping, 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 you're right clicking. Well, I have a program object that'll allow you to do it so you can basically run Popeil, set it and forget it. I know some of you might be old enough to know that Sunday Time TV show, but I'm getting a lot of deer in the headlights looks. I feel like a lot of you weren't watching that TV on Sunday. But also I have a program module here that's actually going to allow you to to actually batch approve all the certificates. So instead of actually trying to do them individually, you can do it en masse with this program object. And so this is just a folder of the program objects that you're going to see. And again, you're going to receive a copy of these and feel free to modify them however you want. If you want to add additional features, feel free to do so. Then this is just the regular Edge adder. And again, I'm not very creative with names. And fun fact, I'm 100% colorblind. So when Emily was talking about colors, all I see are gray. So since I'm not very creative, I just call it Edge adder and simply just whatever CSV file you have in there, and it just can be a name and an IP address. I tell you what Fox port that you want to use and whether or not you want to use Secure Fox, which you should always use. But I gave you the option in case you didn't want to do that. However, just the regular CSV file will work. And again, just a name and IP address. Just very simple that you sit there and just put in that information. And if you just do it through Excel, just like copy and paste and just have it in sequential order. And of course, since I program all the time and I'm a psychopath, none of my IP addresses actually are in numeric order. So it might be a little difficult. But for those of you who actually believe in order and light and everything that is good, all of them will be in a nice order for you. Then we have the Edge adder with the bog file. So again, let's say that you actually have this deployment. Maybe you've deployed several stations over a period of time. Well, with that, you may have a bog file of a Niagara Edge station that you already have done in some supervisor configuration at some particular point. Well, you can now take that bog file, have it put it in the file space of your supervisor, use this program object, and as long as they are the same, it'll actually duplicate it and match it to each individual device in that CSV file. However, this would be like an example of an air handler that you have. So for example, with the Edge-centric applications, if you're using the fan coil unit, heat pump, or an air handler, and you have multiple of them, you can actually just have it right there. Now, as far as pinging stations, instead of right-clicking and going to actions and select ping stations, this program object will actually just take, 5 or 10 seconds and ping every single controller. And if it all shows successful, it's going to say ping successfully, yes. And this is what it looks like if it did not ping successfully. So then you need to go and actually troubleshoot your network in order to do so. Then, again, I have a program object that I actually turn into a program module, and then it allows me to batch edit or batch approve certificates. So I actually will see the entry, see the exemption in the key store, and approve the certificate appropriately. All right, demo time. Since everyone else has been doing demos, I was like, well, might as well do it live here. We'll see me break the system at some point. That's fair. It was working before I left. That's every control setting. It was working before I left. Well, that's a controls problem, right? So, which is also fun because if some of you may know that I'm actually the host of a podcast called It's a Controls Problem. And so yeah, it's everything, everything gets blamed on controls. So this is actually a personal server at my house, and why am I not connecting? It is a controls problem. Well, that's disappointing because I was connecting to it all day. All right, let's see. Can we? Oh, that's because I'm already connected. So now, as you can see now that I was like, why is this not connecting? Okay, I've already been connected. So I told you it was working. Okay. So this is an Edge this is an Edge supervisor station that I have. And here is, under the Niagara network, we have the Onyx Rapid Integration Service. So this is actually when we to demo the VAV. But before I demo the VAV, I actually just want to show you what it looks like to deploy some of these program objects that I have. Because the VAVs actually do a lot of this for me, but because I didn't have time to put it on a module, I'm giving you program objects to do it. So as I have here in the file space, I have this AHU bog, and under here we can see it as a Niagara Edge station. And so it has just AHU 101 because that's what I had before, and underneath I have a bunch of points. So the first program object, again, if I were to just go to the, just double click and go to the property sheet, we can see I can select from any CSV here, which I've already imported into a folder called CSV files. And we have this. Now again, you can do Microsoft Excel and turn it into a CSV file if you want to. But if I go ahead and double click the Niagara network and I just right click the Edge adder here and select actions and execute, you'll see here, it just went through and added all of those devices for you. Now again, there are no proxy points on this one. That assumes maybe that you're using export tags or virtuals. So now, if I want to show you what it looks like, I don't know why my, there we go. That works better. So if I go ahead and actually delete all of these here, And now I go to the Edge adder with Bog. And again, I'm not very creative when it comes to names, so feel free to rename it whatever you like. And if it's a better name than mine, please tell me and I'll update my name. But anyway, so we reference the same CSV file and we're referencing that particular Bog file that we have. And again, it doesn't matter. This could even be for VAV if you actually made your own VAV application instead of using the VAV supervisor that we had. And so if I go to the Niagara network here, and I go to the Edge adder with Bog and hit execute. Well, it added all of those devices again, but now we actually have the ability, or actually you see all the proxy points that I already have in here. So now if I go and change the mass edit the username and password, ooh, fat fingers. And now I right-click on my ping stations and select execute. It'll actually go through and ping each of my controllers. And so I put a 10-second delay in there between each just to give it some extra time here. And now we can actually see under the jobs as it's saying it. By the way, you can't change the name of the job as a program object. It'll just always say runnable. So if you want to change the name, become a developer like me. But you can see here where things are pinging or not pinging successfully. And that's because, well, we attempted to ping, but we get this org.bouncycastle.tls. So if you have not seen this error before, basically this says, well, I have a certificate and you need to approve it somehow. Well, how do we do that? Normally, you can just go through under the services container, under the platform service, and the cert manager service and approve, or you can actually right-click and go execute. And you'll be able to see that it approved all my certificates already. And so now if I just run the ping stations again, you'll see that they'll all start coming up. And so if I go to AHU 101, while we're waiting for the rest, we can see now that it's actually subscribing to one of my controllers that's actually just sitting in my demo. I've got like, I don't know, was it Jeff, like 50 some odd? Like I've got like 50, like my electrical bill is kind of out of control. Also, I actually had to there's so much heat from my Edge controllers in my room. I actually have an exhaust fan just to exhaust it all out. But I figured that this kind of tool would be useful, especially if you're not using the VAV stations that we provide, that if you have something here and you're doing it, just to give you some extra functionality. Because let's face it, we can't really speed up the commissioning process from a Niagara controller. That is what it is. You have to go through the wizard every time and set it up individually. But after you set it all up, we can actually save you a significant amount of time at the supervisor level. But as you saw here, we have this Onyx Rapid Integration Service. And again, I do have a configuration tool. And again, should you want a demo of this JENEsys Edge VAV configuration tool, just please come by the booth and I'll absolutely give you a demo. However, it generates a spreadsheet. And with this spreadsheet here, this is actually what we're going to use. And that's what this VAV.xlxs is. It's a spreadsheet that contains all the configuration. But with this Onyx Rapid Integration Service, and actually what I'm hoping with those program objects, LinkSpring will eventually come up with a program module that does the same thing for all the Edge-centric applications. And this integration service brings up a different view. And if I go ahead and hit discover, it's going to ask me if that a Bog file currently exists and do I want to replace it. And the answer is no, I don't really want to replace it because I just want to use what's already here from our particular installation. But should you have a new one, you can certainly do that. So I'm going to hit no here. Then it's going to ask me, does this supervisor support Edge Lite stations? Well, for those of you who are not familiar with Edge Lite devices, if a Niagara controller is licensed for 150 points or less, it counts as 1/10 of a Niagara connection on a PC supervisor station. And since this is a PC supervisor station, I'm going to select yes. And then it's going to say a spreadsheet currently exists, but if it did not exist, I would actually be able to import it from wherever I have in my space on my server. So I'm going to say, no, I don't want to replace this. And now it's going to ask me for my station credentials. Now, to save a little bit of time here, I'm actually not going to rename the stations because they're already named the same. But if they weren't named the same, I would certainly hit yes here, and then it would ask me for the platform username and password credentials, because that's actually how you do a MATS rename of a station, is through platform. So I'm going to hit no, and then it's going to go reference the spreadsheet, and you can see here that we have a configuration of all the VAVs here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag and drop here from the Discover pane into the database pane. And we're going to do that one more time. Let's try it again. There we go. All right, and so this gives you one last chance, like, hey, speak now or forever hold your peace while I configure this VAV. So if you need to make any additional changes before you send it, you can do it here. But I trust my judgment for the most part. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So now as what you can see here with this station ad, what it's actually doing is I have with my file here an air handler, and underneath my air handler I have a floor. And underneath the floor I have, the floor is my zone, and now I actually have all of my VAVs here. Well, what did that just really do? So if I go and look at the job log as a whole, it actually went and loaded the entry for all the VAVs. It then loaded a BOG file that contains a copy of either a full Niagara station or an Edge Light station. It actually imported or actually put in the station credentials for me. It created the folder and subfolder structure that I wanted, and it actually approved the certificates as well. So this actually does it all for you at the same time. And so now what I can do here, I guess I'm assuming I didn't type in the username and password correctly. I was hoping to do that the first time, but clearly that did not happen. So let's try that again. And then actually, I guess if I use my ping stations here, it'll actually ping them for me. It should. Let's hope. It was working before I left. Oh, that's fair. I mean, I harass myself all the time. Oh, it's going to start with my air handlers, of course, alphabetic, or it's going to go in order. So I'm going to sweet brown this because ain't nobody got time for that. I'm just going to go ahead and ping my devices right now. Now, if you want to ask yourself about graphics in particular, there we go. I can actually click here, and you'll see that every VAV has been configured with its own graphic already. So whatever VAV style you choose, we'll actually have it. By the way, this is our new Onyx Wall module that we actually will be having on display at our booth as well. Again, Link Spring booth, keep going there. But yeah, you can see that everything we have, and obviously I'm waiting for some of my objects to subscribe to its points, but you can see pretty much the general principle. However, we're not quite done yet as far as building the logic between the air handler and the VAV. And so in the file space here that I have, and I'll go ahead and close the jobs, what I have here is I have this AHU BOG and this zone logic BOG. The AHU logic BOG is actually going to go into the folder space of my air handler itself. So it's actually on the same level as my zone. I'm going to drag the zone logic into the zone logic folder. And so if I right-click on the zone logic folder and I go to the AX wire sheet, you'll see here that I have a bunch of logic that's already here to talk about heating requests, cooling requests, pressure requests, etc. And unfortunately, it looks like red with black. I think that's red. Is that red, Emily? Okay, cool. All right, yes. So I should change that to white text because I can't really read that. But for anyone else that isn't colorblind that can read that, it says fire to link components. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. So if I right-click Actions and go Link VAVs, what it'll do is that it will actually go ahead and enable these min-max average components and actually tie in all the VAVs. So if I were to duplicate all these VAVs here, it would actually go ahead and add more VAV links if I would want. And then, as far as the AHU logic folder goes, we can go to the AX wire sheet here. And we can see that things that we need to link to and from, we actually tell you to. So linking the fan status, set points, etc. So the logic in the zone will actually do all the scheduling for you. It'll actually do all the, I like to call trim and respond program. So they'll do your static pressure reset, your supply air reset based upon based upon heating or cooling or pressure requests as per the G36 guideline. Now, should you want a non-G36 application, we do have them and we do provide them with our VAV download. So again, you just go ahead and link just follow the notes, follow the bouncing ball like Disney sing along. You'll go ahead and just link everything together. And that's how we see, or that's how it takes, we're saving a significant amount of time. Imagine having to do this every single time for every single VAV and every single air handler you had. So to me, it saves a significant amount of time. And the last thing I'll show you here under the Onyx Rapid Integration Service is we actually have this add floor plan graphics. Now, I don't have a floor plan in here, but it's going to add the Niagara Network zones and floors. And so if I were to click on the air handler now, it actually brings up a summary page here of all of the VAVs, including the active set point, discharge air, cooling loop, heating loop, etc. And if I were to click on the floor, it gives me a list of labels and bound labels of my VAV. So if I had a floor plan in here, I could actually move these around and put them in the appropriate zone that we have. Are there any questions that we have? Because I have about low over 3 minutes.
Questions, comments? Are we awake? How we doing? I see your eyeballs still, so we're doing all right. You have a couple more minutes. Is that all you had?
Yes, because
okay.
I was expecting the integration process. The integration process when I was testing over there was going through about 7 or 8 minutes, and it did it in like less than 3 this time. So it's like it knew that it needed to actually perform. So it showed me up, unfortunately, which is actually a good thing overall, but bad thing for me because now I'm trying to fill airspace.
It's not airspace. We can use the time. Before we switch over, and any questions for Charles? All right, thank you, Charles.
All right.